Hey guys, welcome back to the Scaredy Cat Gardener. It is an amazingly beautiful day here in Zone 7B. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me in my garden today. I had a comment or a question from one of my subscribers that wanted to know all about how I used 511 to fertilize my garden. They wanted to know everything. They want to know, do you water first? How much do you use? When do you use it? How do you apply it? They wanted to know everything. I figured if they wanted to know, someone else might need to know the information too. So I'm going to go over everything that I do today in this video, step by step. Keep in mind, this is my garden and this is the way I do it. There is absolutely nothing written in stone. You'll have to determine for yourself how much you need to fertilize, how often you need to fertilize, but I can share with you how I do mine, and I'm in Zone 7B. Okay, one more thing before we get started. If you are new to the channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me today. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for stopping by once again, and thank you so much to all my channel members. And for anyone that's not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Turn on that notification bell so you won't miss anything. Okay, let's go to step one. The first thing that I do is deeply water my garden. I water it first so that when I apply the fertilizer, it can go ahead and go in. Now, I do fertilize 3 times each and every month that I can remember. No, but I do. I fertilize 3 times every month. And so that I can remember, and so that it can be on a schedule, I fertilize on the 10th, the 20th, and the very last day of the month. Because you know some months have 30 days, some have 31. So I just make it the last day. The 10th, the 20th, and the last day of the month are the 3 times that I fertilize my entire garden. First, let's go over how I water everything, and then we'll just do each part that I do step by step. Let me grab the hose. Okay, when you're watering your plants, don't just go and start spraying everywhere. Water them within the containers that you're using. Water them down low at the base of the plant where the soil is. You're not trying to water the actual plants. You're watering the soil. You want to give it a deep watering. For me, I water my plants until the water runs out. Over here, I have a spout on the big ones that's down there, and when water starts running out of that spout, then I know I've watered them deep enough. And for my red containers, the ones that are covered up, I don't uncover them. That's why I use these covers. The water goes right through them. But I still water at the base. I water these pots until the water comes through out the bottom. And again, water down low, not up high. Finally got my garden completely watered. Water it thoroughly. The reason you want to water it thoroughly first is so that the nutrients from your fertilizer, whatever fertilizer it is, has a chance to really saturate and go down in it. You don't want it to go down in hard dirt that's dry. You want the soil to be moist first, then put your fertilizer on, whatever kind you're using. I fertilize from my bucket here, from my watering can, and this is a 2-gallon watering can. Typically, I really don't measure, but if I had to, I would say I'm probably putting about 2 tablespoons in here each time. For my red pots, usually it's about a 1/2 gallon per pot, because this, once I fill this up to the top, then I can water about 4 of my red pots. Now, my red pots are about 13.5 gallons each. So getting 4 out of them, you're talking about 50 gallons roughly. My other containers, the ones that these, and I'm gonna go around and show you this, but the ones that are like in my tomato cages, these are 33.5 gallons, and I usually use most of this 2-gallon bucket in one of those. So let's go ahead and see how I put my mixture in. Again, I am using just basic 511. That's what I'm using. That's what I use 3 times a month. This one's almost empty. I try to buy them in bulk so that I will always have them. But shake it first, whether it's full, empty, half full. Make sure you give it a good shake first. Then I just kind of pour some in here and I eyeball it. Like I said, this one's almost empty. Let me see here. There we go. 1 tablespoon. And that's about 2 tablespoons. And I'm just going to say this, fertilizer can be expensive. Once I get to the point, I will turn this upside down and just let it sit in my bucket like this for a few minutes to drain out as much as I can get out of here. And then I rinse it. And I rinse it and I rinse it again. When I rinse it, I'm rinsing it into here. So I will take my water hose, and since this is empty, I'll probably show you that too. I will take my water hose, pour it in, put the top on it, shake, 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 and empty that into my bucket. That almost gives me a whole nother bucket. It's usually when I rinse it, I usually fill it up about halfway for a gallon. Use all your fertilizer. And don't be like me. In between, don't just sit your fertilizer down. Always put your top on it. I know it sounds like something so simple, but it's so easy just to sit it down and then knock it over. This stuff is expensive. Come on now, just put your top on. Just a reminder. I make sure my hose is turned to stream, and then because it foams, I actually run my hose along the side of my container until it gets good and mixed. You all see all this foam up here. Give this a time to settle down and melt, so to speak, because you'll find that you have quite a bit more room in your bucket for water. You can go over lightly, just gently, and help it down some, and you'll find you have more room for water. We need to utilize as much of our fertilizer as we can. Now that was 4 pots right there, and I still have about maybe a fourth, a little bit less than half left in here, and I'm going to start on this one because a couple of these pots only have seedlings in them, so I don't need to put that much in there. So you have to gauge what you have growing. Over here, this is my watermelon, so it's going to need some good fertilizer in it. So it's going all the way down here, and I've got more than one in this actual container here. So I'm going to finish this bucket off in this container. Now I've already gotten as much as I can get out of here, so now it's time for me to rinse it out. You don't want to waste anything. Rinse it out. So you have to be very gentle so you can get it in the hole. And I'm just bagging up for my table so I won't wet everything up. This is all you need to do is fill this bottle up about 3/4 of the way full. Once you got your water in there, put the top on it, make sure it's on tight, and shake it. And you can see how dark it is coming out of here to see how much fertilizer we're actually getting out by doing that. See how dark that is? So you don't want to leave all that fertilizer in your bottle. Now we'll fill it up and rinse again. As you can see, the second time is not nearly as dark as the first time. Now from here, I'm just going to go ahead and fill my container up and keep watering or fertilizing my plants. You can see down in there, see how clear that is compared to what it was? That's what you want. Okay, that's all I do with my 511 now. I do put compost on the top of my soil once a month. I tend to do that on the 10th, the middle, I'm sorry, not the 10th, the 20th, the middle of the month. So this was my end of the month. When I do that, next month, in the middle of the month, I'll show that process too. But it's really, really simple. I compost in place, so therefore I save all my scraps and everything, and then I have a loamy, and that loamy breaks it down to like what looks like sawdust. My process is pretty much the same thing. I water my garden, then I sprinkle that on the top. Then I fertilize after that, and I just let that slowly release into the soil over time, over the next month. So that's pretty much what I do. I love that loamy. I did a video on that because by me composting in place, it allows me to break everything down into like what looks like sawdust, and I can just sprinkle it on top of my garden, and I don't have to worry about the smell or the critters or a big compost bin somewhere. So it has really been a blessing to me. That's it for now, I think. Let me just show you my garden, what it looks like right now, and we'll go from there. So I'm not going to take you guys over the whole thing, but as you can see, everything is looking nice and wet and rich. This is my watermelon vine that's growing down there. I have some hibiscus here. My cucumber plant is growing. I have some kale right there. That's just something I need to get out of that thing. Here's another hibiscus. This is my mint, my propagation things down there. Got some peas right there. This is another hibiscus right here. Got some cantaloupe and peppers coming up. It's just starting to get hot enough for peppers to really grow. This is one of my tomato plants. This is my celery that I am, the 4-foot tall celery that I'm letting go to seed. I want all these seeds, not necessarily to replant because I grow celery from celery, but I use celery seeds while I'm cooking. And this is the this is my tomato plant that's so tall, and I'm going to show you just how tall it is. Look at the top of my umbrella, and it's taller than the top of my umbrella. So I'll be harvesting that somehow. So that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much once again. If you got anything out of this video or enjoyed it, please leave me a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe and vote for me in the 2023 Favorite Chef Competition. Okay, remember, anywhere you can set a pot, you can grow a plant. And I'll see you on the trail.